Alex Ovechkin is inching closer towards Wayne Gretzky's goal-scoring record, and should video review be under review itself? Hey everyone, welcome into Off the Post. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Steve Simmons, Bruce Garrioch, and Patrick Johnston. And guys, don't look now, but Alex Ovechkin just 30 goals away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal-scoring record after a hat trick on Sunday against Vegas got him to 13 on the season and 866 for his career. I think we all thought it may take a few seasons for Ovi to break the record, but looking like it's possibly going to happen a lot sooner. Steve, do you think it could be the year that we finally see Gretzky's record go down?
Well, every time I want to make a proclamation about where Alex Ovechkin is in his career, where he's going, and what the next step is, I tend to be wrong, as do many of us. Every time you think he's slowing down, every time you think he's not doing what you expect him to do, guess what he does? He scores goals. He scores goals at a rate higher than anyone who's ever played the game, basically, over the course of a career. And so here he is, leading the NHL in scoring, or tied for the lead right now, in the season that most of us thought, yeah, it'll take another year after this one for him to get the record. Well, he's scoring at 62-point pace right now with 65 games to go, I think. And if he scores at 32 goal pace the rest of the way, well, he gets the record. And so I'm not going to sit here and say he's not getting it when I sat here almost all of last year and most of the beginning of this year thinking it'll take another season. I think, boys, this is the year.
I guess the question is, Steve, are we excited about it? I mean, I generally speaking am not very excited about it. I kind of feel like this is the chase that has never ended. And as much as we've seen an uptick, Patrick, in the way that Alex Ovechkin is scoring this year, and the possibility does exist that he will set the record this year. You know, part of me feels like he's going to hang around long enough to break the record. You know, there was something spectacular about Wayne Gretzky setting that record in the first place. And to be honest, this is one that I wouldn't mind him holding on to. And that is nothing against Alex Ovechkin. I haven't loved the route that's been taken to get there. Maybe that's just me.
I think it's about personality too, isn't it? I mean, you think about young Ovechkin, we all kind of loved him. He was kind of goofy. You know, there was a sort of an energy, youthful energy, childlike energy to him. But, you know, in his older years, as he's become more and more sort of a what's the word, avatar, if you will, for Vladimir Putin, I suppose, and certainly how the last few years have gone with the war in Ukraine and the way he's been tied to the Russian president, I think he's kind of left a sour taste in everybody's mouth. We all kind of know what he thinks and how he feels, and no one wants to talk to him about it, and I think that's rightly so, because he's not going to talk about it. He doesn't really want to talk about anything. So that he's sort of that far away, distant figure that it just, you don't have good vibes about. And nonetheless, here's some math. He has scored at twice his career scoring rate. Even if he falls back to his career scoring rate, and in general, I would say, you know, he's taken 60 shots so far over the course of last season, 272 shots. So 210 more shots over the next 3 quarters of a season, which seems reasonable for him given his historic shooting rate. Even if he shoots at like 10%, that's 21 goals, and that's going to get him almost where he needs to be. So he will get there close this season. I'm not sure quite how close he'll get. There's a good chance he'll do it, but if you're betting money, it's not a slam dunk lock that it's going to happen this season. He is going to slow down. But as Steve said, you can never make any predictions with this guy.
Do I like his politics? No. Do I like Wayne Gretzky's politics? No. There's a lot of people whose politics I don't frankly care for. I'm interested in the record because it's a record, and it's a record that matters, and it's a record by the greatest offensive player that we've ever seen, and Ovechkin's going to own it. And he's going to have the most goals until Austin Matthews passes him. And then we'll be talking about that, you know, years from now. But it's incredible to me.
Everything's about Toronto, eh?
Always.
We can turn everything into Toronto.
And you know, in Ovi's case, you can argue with how he's done it. You can argue with his personality. You can argue with his politics. What you can't argue with, the guy's a scoring machine at a time when it's harder to score goals than it was when Gretzky set the record. So that much I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fair. I'd like how I guess my thing is, I don't think we talked about when Gretzky broke Howe's record. I don't think we talked about it for as long as we seem to have talked about the fact that Ovechkin is going to break Gretzky's record. Yeah, he's going to do it, but it feels like this chase has just gone on, and I mean this talk started 3-4 years ago.
Part of it was because, Bruce, we didn't believe it was going to happen.
Right.
We talked about it. We thought, oh, if he does 4 more years of this at this many goals a year, then he'll get there. Honestly, I don't think we believed he would get there. Well, guess what, guys? He's getting there.
He's getting there.
The mountain is so huge. I mean, this isn't just climbing Everest. This is climbing K2. It's technically difficult. It's something that almost nobody does. And you know, when Gretzky retired and we saw the point totals, we all thought, well, no one's going to come close to this. Well, here's a guy that's going to beat it. And is a truly impressive achievement. And as Steve said, especially in the early years of his career when it was so hard to score goals. You know, we are entering into a bit of a high octane era, but this is a guy who keeps scoring and into his late 30s. I mean, that's the other thing, is that this isn't easy to do. It's not like he's sort of petering out to the end of the season, just getting a couple goals here and there. I mean, as Steve said, he's on pace to score 60 goals. I don't think he'll do that this year, but the mere fact that he can be even contemplated as doing such a thing at his age speaks to the talent of the player and why this is such a remarkable feat.
Yeah, don't worry, Bruce. We'll be talking about it later this year when he gets closer to Gretzky's record. Speaking of the Capitals, last week
we saw the question maker, right?
Of course not. So speaking of the Capitals, we saw last week in the game versus the Leafs, there was about 10 minutes worth of video review. And I think when video review was first brought in, we all expected to be a bit of a game changer, but it's clearly gotten to a point where it feels like it's a burden at times, Bruce. Does the NHL need to scale back on the events they can actually review?
Well, I personally, I don't think so. I'd rather they get it right than get it wrong. Do I love the, you had a toe across the line, so you're offside calls? No, I don't love that, but at least they get it right. I think there needs to be a time limit on video review, but I don't think, in my own feeling is games aren't too long. I think Saturday night games end too late because, you have the 15-minute later puck drop and things like that. But I can't get too crazy about video review. I'd rather they get it right. Would I like to see them review a few more situations? Yeah, I would actually. But I also don't want video review to take over the game. And I feel like now, Rob, that with the way video coaches are, that they usually aren't flipping a coin anymore. You don't see too many reviews that go wrong.
The problem I have with video review isn't video review. It's the decision made once they review the video. I don't have a clue what goaltending interference is. I am out of my mind crazy. I don't know what is a goal, what isn't, what is a goalie interfered with, when aren't they interfered with. So I'll start with that. Now, the second thing I'm told, and we're talking Ovechkin first about goal scoring. Everybody tells me that goal scoring is the hardest thing to do in hockey. And so what does video review do? Let's get rid of the close goal. The puck went off of his leg, therefore we're not sure, therefore there's no goal. Like it happened with Matthew Nyes last week. He didn't kick the puck in. It went off of his thigh. I didn't know going off a guy's thigh is now kicking the puck in the net. Then I saw one where somebody went to high stick the puck, and he tried to high stick it high and missed it, and then he high sticked it low, and it went in. Well, guess what? They called that off for a high sticking goal. Like I'm astounded by how many goals I think should count that are getting turned away in a sport where what do we want? We want more scoring. Video review is giving us less scoring.
It's long been my complaint, too. I, on the whole, think it's right to have review. You should get the calls right, especially when we can see that they are obviously wrong. I'm with Steve. You need to find a way to make the system about essentially confirming what it should be and not overturning things that you're not so sure about. And clarity sync. I mean, look at the emails we all get, right? After every decision gets made in a game, we'll get an email saying, here's what their decision was. And it never explains it. They'll explain the suspension. They'll put a video out saying, here's why. I would say on the whole, generally when the suspension is rendered, you see the video and you're like, okay, yeah, I get that. But on goals, there are things, as Steve said, like if it hits you in the leg, like if it hits your pants, like what are you supposed to do? Like you're in position, it hits you, like you can't kick it. Can you really kick it in with your thigh? Is that a kick? I don't think that's a kick. We actually had a review in the game, in the Canucks game on Saturday against Islanders, where in the end you clearly saw the high angle and Niels Holmgren punched the puck into the net, and that clearly shouldn't have been a goal. You got to put it in with your stick. I think review generally works. I think generally they are quick and to the point. It sounds like they're trying to find a way to get better. I know other sports have figured out ways to make their review quicker. I think if review is quick and easy, people tend to like it better. 10 minutes sounds ridiculous. I can't even imagine sitting through a game like that where you're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. The system is okay. I think the system can be better. And I think they need to be clearer on how and why they're doing things. That will make it all so much better. Like goalie interference in general, you go in the paint and even for the goalie is probably going to get called back, but there's lots of instances where there's gray area that isn't clear, and they need to make those things clearer.
Somewhere Brett Hull in the Buffalo Sabres in 1999 lives forever because they didn't get it right then. And then 25 years later, they're not getting it right now. And really everything that goes in the net that isn't kicked off a skate, in my view, or isn't thrown in by a player should count. If it's off your butt, it's good. If it's off your shoulder, it's good. If it's off your pants, it's good. The puck goes past the net. And as our friends who announced the game says, and goes to the back of the net, not the front of the net, has to go to the back of the net. It counts.
Yeah, let's start throwing in the headers as well. That'd be a nice little thing for players to start working on in the summer. But as always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For Bruce Garrioch, Patrick Johnston, and Steve Simmons, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.